Hi, everyone. I'm Bev Adamo with Wild and Wise Women, Wild and Wise Sisterhood. Again, so excited about all of these amazing authors, 10 inspiring women who have come together to share their stories of inspiration, triumph, victory, love, all the amazing things in life. And today I get to speak with Terry Jackson. Terry, hi.
Hi, Bev. Thank you for changing everything and having me on today.
Oh my gosh,
That worked out.
anytime. Yeah, that's what's so great about this technology. I mean, whether people are catching us live when we do the lives or whether they catch us on replay, it's all good. So I'm so excited because chapters are done, cover's done,
I,
everything's done, book is done. Actually, we're going to be launching in just a few days. And I particularly am interested to know because Terry, you're an amazing woman. And some of the things we were just talking a little bit before we got on camera about um, a, a great, I don't know, I guess maybe philosophy or how you live. And actually, if we can start there, your chapter is amazing. And I can't wait to hear more about starting life over, which is your chapter,
right.
starting life over. I love what you had to say just before we got in on here. So tell me a little bit more about, or tell me and tell us about the how you live your passion. I mean, every single day. By just tell me what you do and what's important to you.
Well, I have a busy life with our store and everything, but the way that I reach out is I always just say one person at a time.
Love
That's
that.
about all I can do at one time because it puts my whole essence into the help. It might be spiritual, it might be mental, it might be physical, it might be financial. So, and I've been this way since I was a little girl. I always wanted to not have people sad. So I would do pratfalls and try to get somebody to laugh. I guess I'm an empath, and as they were hurting, I was.
Yeah.
So it's taken me on quite an adventure. I have people call and come to ask for help. I've driven to the Navajo reservation and rescued somebody from my friend from the police station. She wasn't in trouble, but she had an abusive husband, and
Mm.
that was like a 9 hour drive up there, a 9 hour drive back. I stayed on the phone with people all night when they say they want to kill themselves. Whatever it takes, and if I can do it, I'm going to do it because at that point, that person is the most important person in the world to me, and it makes me happy to help people. That's just my job.
I love that. And I love the one person at a time. So even if we're out there, like with this book, we're going to be touching a lot of women's lives, and that makes me really inspired and happy and genuinely I can really feel the emotion in my heart with doing that. And at the same time, when we write our stories, if we write our stories as though we're talking to our best friend or so, someone who we know is just aching for this knowledge that we have, when we do that one person at a time, that's so beautiful. We can really inhabit the moment. We're not
Right.
we're not giving it away to the past or the future or other people that aren't right here. We're like one person at a time. So I love that. And thank you, Terry, for sharing that. So tell us about starting life over. What does that mean?
Well, I started my chapter with the how I was um, adopted when I was 6 weeks old, and
Wow.
that process of being an adoptee and then being an adopted only child, and some of the issues of being an only child. The adoption part was didn't hit me as much as being alone because I don't have a lot of memories from my.
Mm,
I didn't have any siblings to market at the time.
right.
So when other people remember that time we went and got in trouble because we killed the rooster at Mrs. Olson's house. I sat on the couch and read, but I had more
Mhm.
all that stuff. I had a good life, but that's one of the things that I miss. So, and then it's about how I found my birth mom, and I was 48, but
Wow.
my adopted parents had passed because in my heart I would never look for my birth mom until my parents had passed, because I didn't ever want to hurt their feelings to think I wasn't appreciative. So then I found my birth mom. She was kind enough to pick me up at the airport, drive 2 hours to where she lived in Kansas. And then I had no idea. I walked into a house and there was like 16 of my relatives I'd never met.
Wow.
So we all had our own little worries. They worried I was really smart. No problem. They could be axe murderers, because who knows? No problem. So what I found was that between nature and nurture, nature has plenty to do with who you are. Your DNA is really strong. So I found a lot of similarities to my mom and my sisters. And I have a brother, but he's a boy, so he's different.
Yeah.
So so that life I had with them was incredible and still going on. And in that same year, I went to a spiritual sort of a workshop, and my now husband was there, who I never met before. He's a Chumash from the Santa Ynez Band of Chumash Indians in California.
Okay.
And he was there to do a dedication, and I met him. I don't know what happened. It was like being on a train that never stops. And so I left a 17-year job. I walked out of my house. I left my husband of 23 years because we were just sort of living together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went off to California with this man I met once. And then there were all the issues with his mom and all that stuff. It's still going on, but I was determined. And then through him, I met a native wise man. He doesn't want to be called, he's not a medicine man, but he doesn't call himself that.
Right.
And so now I've been on this 20-year adventure of finding that I had native blood and adopting that as my persona. And now my husband and I live that red road, they call. We go to ceremony and try to help people through our trading posts and through our Gourd Society. And so really and truly, I have left my past, and this is my new life, with something I had dreamed about but never thought that would happen. And it is a lot harder than you think in your mind when you're doing your fantasy. The reality of it is way harder, but good. So that's basically the short version.
Well, I find it to be an extraordinary story, an extraordinary journey that you were on. I can only imagine what it would have been like, especially like to walk into this room of, like you say, relatives that you had no idea, existed at one point in your life, or, who they were, anything like that, and to come into contact with them. And my gosh. And I admire your courage. There's so much courage that you have displayed when you talk about your path and what you've been on, and how you went there. And I appreciate you saying that, it was a lot more challenging and harder than what you ever imagined that it would or could be. And yet it didn't stop you, because it was challenging. You didn't stop. And I could see so many places. I mean, even after your parents had passed, and you were looking for your birth mother, I mean, not everybody would do that. And not to say that everybody has to or they should. Right. And yet some people have a calling for that, and they never take that step, never, keep going. So I admire and honor your courage, your passion, and your perseverance, to keep going and to, find who you are. And I know for some people who have gone down that path, most of the people that I know have gone down the path of finding their birth mother or their birth parents, have had a good, something good happen out of that. But it isn't always like that. So did you have any qualms? I mean, did you know that your birth mother, you didn't try to look for it all until your parents had passed?
Right. Yeah. So
Okay.
really, I might have been that one that didn't, but I have a really good sister friend who actually was a
Hmm.
survivor, um, who had a weekend get together with women, and she's an amazing teacher. And she
Awesome.
basically said, "Quit snibbling and go find your mother." Okay.
I love it. You know, I have friends like that too. That sometimes they say quit sniveling or that kind of thing, or sometimes it's more of a more gentle invitation or nudge out there. But yeah, it's basically the same. It's like, you know what, you're not we're not victims, and we're not helpless, and we're so powerful. And that's another thing that I feel that your story speaks to, is the power of purpose. You know, when you know what you want to do, when you know what your heart's desire is, and to follow it. And the same way when you met your husband now, your partner now, I just, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
what courage, and to know you're in your heart that your other relationship was complete, and be willing to, you know, take that leap. You left with
Nothing, basically.
nothing. Yeah. And yet that's really all we have, and that's
Right.
a lot. So I want to recognize also the fact that your story speaks to, I don't need anything but me to be
Right.
where I am, and to go down my path and walk my path. And that's really quite special. And it's a great message for, I believe, everyone, to know
Mm.
that, you know, no matter what you have or don't have, really what's inside and who you are, your connection to source, all of that's so important. And I love what you're doing in your life now with the trading post, and being there, you know, one person at a time, and really being a contributor to, uh, I don't know, life. I just see you as just this fountain of life with everything that you're doing. It's so amazing. And I
I
want to
just,
take it. Go ahead.
no, you go.
Well, I want to take a minute to talk about, because one of the things that we're doing in the book collaborative out there, if you don't know, is that for the book launch, all of our authors have very generously donated a gift or a prize that we're going to be doing some drawings for. And Terry, we talked a little bit about what you were going to be offering. So can you take a couple of minutes as we close this out to let people know what your gift is?
Okay. Well, I can't put a value on my gift because as a Native American, we don't charge for anything.
Mhm.
People usually the known thing to do is to offer tobacco and then ask what you need, advice or whatever, and we're to take that and help. That tobacco is a spiritual offering that we
Mm,
need to think to answer the call of that person.
great.
Um, but I can talk about that. I can talk about how it is to enter the native world and be accepted, and
Mm.
not easy. That's and you get beat up a little bit in your heart. But if that's what you want, there are certain things you can do not to mess up. But I also, on the back of me is all my essential oils, so I can do essential oils, make something for somebody. I have so many, I'm eager to give them away. Um, I just go by the seat of my pants. You need something, we'll take it.
Well, yes, I love that expression, but by the seat of our pants. And really what that is by the seat of our soul. You know, it's
Right.
really our
Yeah,
soul that's guidance. I love
that's
that. I've got my guides, and my, you know, what the beings I'm surrounded with are just cracking up right now. It's like, yeah, seat of your pants, also the seat of your soul. It's like, oh, that's what
exactly,
I
exactly.
love
It's
it. Yeah,
tailored to
I love
that
it.
person.
Well, you, Terry, have I've spoken with you, and I've spent some time with you, and I'm so honored and happy for that, because I've gotten a feel of your wisdom, and it's the kind of wisdom that I think is rare in the world. I mean, we have the book knowledge and things like that, and then we
Right.
have the real life wisdom that comes from and through people, women like you, who have really lived their life. No matter what, they just keep going forward and
Energize your body. Keep going.
yes, and create this amazing collaborative, because I know just as you would go and help anyone who needed that help, I know there are so many people who would also be there for you because of who you are and how you show up. And that is, you're right, it's absolutely priceless. There's no way to put a value on that. So I'm really looking forward to whoever wins your gift and has the opportunity to share that connection and that time and that sacred circle of respect and love and all that you have to offer. So thank you so much for joining me today. And again, I want to let everyone know to please go to our event pages on Wild and Wise Women, and you'll see the book launch. And if you have any questions at all, whether for Terry or for me or who knows what, anybody, we've got a lot of great, amazing knowledge that comes through us. So feel free to ask, maybe we'll do that sometime. Anyway, Terry, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for being one of these most amazing authors. I'm so honored and to meet and know and share this space with you and the other authors. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm so happy to be with those other women. And you got, oh my gosh, it's been a fabulous ride.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Worth it every moment. And thank you so much, Terry. We'll talk to everyone soon. And until then, bye.
See ya.
See ya. All right.